Good morning, everybody. Before we get started with 1 Million Cups, I want to tell you about a new app that the 1 Million Cups and the Kaufman Foundation has put out. So if you go to the App Store on your phone right now and Google or look in there 1 Million Cups, you'll find this app, and it's a great app and a really easy way to interact with 1 Million Cups and with the presenters that are here today. And I'll show you a few quick things. So it gives you the opportunity to connect with the entrepreneurs that are presenting, have their information here on one of the screens. And it's not working. Can you hit that? That's over there. It's on, it's already here. You can discover different 1 Million Cups communities. So if you're in another town for business and you want to stop by 1 Million Cups, you can check other areas out there. And then, next slide. You can explore and see who's presenting where and kind of go into detail about who's going to be coming up for new 1 Million Cups events. Then you can also have an impact on the people that present by providing feedback through the app. And this is feedback that the presenters can see in the app on their side. And so you'll want to check in. You can check in at events, and then it'll give you an opportunity to fill out a survey, and it'll ask questions about how the presenter did and any feedback that you want to give them. And also a great opportunity if you want to, we're all about supporting our entrepreneurs here, and so it'll give you a kind of a more direct contact with the entrepreneurs so you can support them in their efforts. I think that's pretty much it. So without further ado, I'll pass it over to Lauren.
All right, good morning. How is everyone today? Let's try that one more time. How is everybody doing today? Okay, good. All right, well, my name's Lauren Finnegan. I'm one of your city coordinatars, along with Matt and Christy. If you have any questions at any point after the program, please do not hesitate to find us. You can also email us at dallas@1millioncups.com. A little bit of background information, if you've never been here before. We're an educational program produced by the Kaufman Foundation to engage, connect, and help educate local entrepreneurs while helping build startups on a grassroots level. We'll have 2 presenters today. They'll each get 6 minutes to pitch, and then 15-minute Q&A and feedback session. We really recommend and encourage you to participate, and we just ask that you raise your hand high, and then we'll come around with a microphone so that the video can pick you up a little bit better, because we do put this also on our YouTube channel. Just a quick thank you to our vendors. We cannot do it without them. So big thank you, first of all, to the Dallas Entrepreneur Center, the DEC, for always being a gracious host and venue for us. And then for keeping us caffeinated, we want to thank House of Genius for providing the hot coffee. So big thank you to them. And then special guest High Brew for providing the awesome cold brew coffee in a can. So please go get some at any point. Stay caffeinated today. And then we do have a special brunch series as well. So big thank you to Taco Rex and Kessler Bakery for being here today as well. So yes, big thank you. So at any point, go get yourself some food, some coffee. We're going to be here a while. You can stay and network afterwards as well. But without further ado, we want everyone to stand up, give a big warm welcome to our first presenter. We have Steve with MLS DealFinder. Big welcome.
How's everyone doing today? Really happy to be here. Thank you. That's very, very important. We're always happy to be here. We did our first pitch here 2 years ago, and we have been coming in and out here as a part of the audience too. It's always great to be a part of the community that's so inspiring with 1 Million Cup. So how many of you have heard of MLS DealFinder? Anybody in the real estate space? Very, very good. So we are technology that's about 2 years old, and we have a really, really cool way of helping you find investment properties. So what is MLS DealFinder? It's a real estate valuation platform that really, really focuses on looking at all the possible deals on the MLS and looking for investment-grade properties. So an example of how it works is we look at the market valuation, which is looking at all the sold transactions in any particular area, to figure out how much the house is worth, and we compare it with the asking price. Usually, most of the properties are either overpriced or they are priced on par to what the market value is. But there's always that 1 or 2% that are significantly priced under market value, and those are the ones we identified. And those are the good deals you can find that you can buy, fix, and flip. So anyone who have seen HGTV, flip this house, all that stuff, those are the deals that we find. The other thing that we do is looking at all the rental transactions in the area and look at it from a cash flow standpoint. Some houses may not be priced under market value, but if you're someone who's looking forward to buying a house and holding it and create a cash flow, those are really good opportunities too. So we find two types of deals. As I said, we launched about 2 years ago, and we're very, very targeted. We only look at, we're going after the real estate agents and investors. We're approaching this kind of in a local grassroots level. We go to a lot of investment clubs, and we're sponsors there. We're also in a lot of big brokerages now, and we go after a subscription model, about $100 per month. And we have, what else? We've been doubling our revenue every 4 months. So our marketing strategy has been working, going really deep in the grassroots level and making deals with investment club owners or brokerages, and go really, really targeted to these targeted customers. We started doing a lot more Facebook ads and all that as well recently. We are getting a lot of good results. So the expansion plan is that starting next year, we'll start mapping the rest of Texas, start hitting the major cities, and in 2018, we hope to expand from a national level. Along the way of growing the company, we also discover more needs, one of which is running CMAs. So CMA is a process for you to come up with a market valuation. And so, when we talk to our customers, people are saying, hey, great, MLS is a great source of finding deals, the 20,000 listings, 20,000 houses that are available for sale. But I have found some houses that are for sale by owners. Some people may not want to list it on the MLS. So we push out this Fast CMA. It's a new product that we're launching that allows you to come up with its valuation automatically if you just punch in an address. The other thing that we discover is a lot of folks are very, very interested in learning about real estate investments, but they don't know how to get started. You can go and take some classes from a lot of gurus, and they will charge you, somewhere along the line of $10,000 to $20,000 for a personal mentoring session. So we're kind of flipping the market here with pushing out the RIS certification, which stands for Residential Investment Specialist. It's a CE certified. A whole group of 5-day training of CE certified classes that lets us to provide formal training for real estate agents and prospective or wannabe real estate investors alike. You can follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and we started pushing out more social media channels as well. Thank you.
Hi, we will now open the floor to any questions or comments. Please raise your hand high.
No questions. Awesome. So who wants to become a customer?
Great question.
So I'm familiar with MLS through like a real estate agent that would have sent me something, say like, oh hey, look for some properties here. Is this the same thing?
Yes, so in a way it is. So most of the time when you're working with a realtor and you're asking them for a house, it's for you to live in. And so the realtors have no problem finding houses that are good for retail. Any kind of home buyer, we're looking at the criteria of where do you want to live, school district, all that stuff. What we're doing is focusing on residential investment market. So we're strictly looking at houses that are priced significantly under market value or have a very good cash flow. So when you're looking at houses from an investment standpoint, it doesn't really matter what features it has, what school district. Maybe it does in a certain way, but what we really are going after are the houses that are significantly priced under market it's very, very number driven.
Are you working at all with Torch, the Texas Organization of Residential Care Homes? Because they look for that market. They have memory care. They're usually in neighborhoods, the larger homes. Are you working with them?
Not yet. I would love to talk to you afterwards and
Okay.
see if we can
Okay.
form some kind of partnership. Just a question of that.
Hi, good morning. Do you have any really good success stories or any good stories that you can tell of how the app has worked for people and what sort of return on investment they've made?
Great question. I love these questions. So if you go to our Facebook page, we actually started recording video testimonials earlier this year. And one success story that one of our early customers told us is that she signed up with us and within a week came to our training, learned how to use the system and all that, and she found a deal within 1 week. And I think her purchase price, if I remember correctly, is about $50-some thousand. She put $30,000 to rehab the house, and she's selling it for $138,000. So about, I think she's making $50-some thousand. Like I said, our monthly subscription is about $100, so that's a huge ROI. And this Monday, a client just called me and said, "Steve, I started using you guys for 3 months, and I closed 3 deals, and I made $8,000. This is a gentleman that was purchasing a house and trying to do and he's offloading a contract for a fee. And so he's not rehabbing, but he's wholesaling property for those who are in the industry.
Is it $100 a month per person or $100 a month per brokerage?
It's $100 per month on average per person.
On average. Okay, so it depends kind of brokerage or kind of personal deals?
Yes, yeah. We actually charge by territory. There are 4 main counties in the DFW area, and the number of deals, if you look at kind of the real estate, it's very micro and very regional. If you look at places like Plano, Frisco, there's a lot of big companies moving in, and it's kind of, a lot of folks are just looking for homes to live by State Farm or Toyota that's moving in. And so huge population growth. You're not going to see a lot of investment properties that are significantly under market value. But we still find a lot of good cash flow deals. So we price them a little differently because the number of opportunities are not as high in those areas as some other areas of DFW.
Got it.
So we price them.
And the second question, what's keeping you guys from scaling quicker? So what do you guys, do you need more capital, or is it technology, or is it just perfecting the model?
I love this question as well. We are in the process of growing our team. We have grown from really 2 people to we have about 12, 13 folks now. So part of it is capital, and the other part is talent. So we're looking for both. The other part is the data is actually very regional. We're sourcing our data from the MLS, which is a huge source, but the data is restricted in a particular area. So if we need to go to Houston, we need to talk to the MLS in Houston. We need to go to San Antonio and Austin, we got to talk to the MLS there. So there's some data source challenges as well. But if we got funding, it's very, very easy to go there and build up a database and kind of move forward from there.
Question to that?
Two questions. What kind of customer growth have you seen?
What kind of customer growth have I seen?
Yeah. And 2, in terms of your classes, who is developing that curriculum? Is that you, or is that a third party? How does that?
Sure. So how is the customer growth? So we've been able to double our user base every 4 months, either through, every single time when you're doubling your business, something breaks, and you're always kind of hitting a little bit of plateau, and you have to figure out how can I market it or create better customer service to continue to grow. I guess the short answer is, on average, we're doubling every 4 months through different kind of ways that we're pushing marketing. In terms of education, since we launched, we have grown into the industry leader in the DFW area in this real estate investment industry. So we actually have a huge, robust connection with a lot of industry leaders who are in this space, and they are actually willing to teach all these classes with us. We're teaching some classes that has to do with technology, but most of the classes are taught by industry leaders, whether, for example, if you really want, there's a rehab class where, if you really want to buy a house and fix it up, you really need to know how to go in and walk around the house and come up with a rehab budget. So we have a guru that actually teaches the classes for us in that respect. And so every single facet that has to do with real estate investments, from finding a deal all the way to exiting, we have someone who talks about those specific topics. So great question, thank you.
Back here. In terms of a saturation point, there's only a certain number of deals per region. Are you even close to hitting that to where it becomes too many investors for deals, or the deals aren't as good? And then sort of a part B to that, is there, maybe it is through the CAM, but is there another way to find, I know you're focused on this, but besides MLS, is there another way to find deals? So saturation point, is there one? And then what's the next step if it becomes that?
Sure. So logically, there will be a saturation point per county or per area. So that's a very, very good point. We are setting a user cap for each county. So once we reach that particular number, we're going to have a wait list for these guys. And if I go back here, but that's just MLS DealFinder, right? With Fast CMA, everybody can use it. So this is our way of kind of started going from the niche market down here to the more mass market. Again, there's also other sources of finding deals which are off the market, and we have a few projects that are kind of going after, again, is to scrub a huge source and massively look at all these houses and find the properties that are good investment properties. So good question. So we have a few projects that are going after those.
We're going to take 2 more questions in the back.
Hey there. So my question is about, you talk about cash flow, and in order to develop a cash flow model to figure out if it's going to cash flow or not, there's a whole lot of assumption you have to make about insurance, real estate taxes, mortgage rate, all that sort of stuff. Okay, so can you talk about how you guys go about doing that?
One of our classes is called financial. It's called, we have renamed it now. Basically, it's about financing for our life. So when you start looking at it from a cash flow standpoint, most of the time you don't want to buy a house with cash. So there's some financing, and there are different types of long-term and short-term financing involved. All that there are different people who have developed these financial calculators to calculate cash flows. And one of our classes actually goes in depth into what you need to be looking at to calculate your final ROI. And there's going to be, there's so many different tactics and strategies when it comes to real estate investing. I really can't talk about any one in detail. If you guys are interested, please come to our classes. But usually there's a calculator that's involved. We're actually integrating a calculator into our platform, so you can just very easily and quickly come up with a cash flow calculation as well. So great question, thank you.
We have time for one more question. All right. What can the community do for you?
So I need, we're actively recruiting. We need actually a lot of talent from a marketing and sales standpoint. We need business developers, and we're actually looking for someone who is kind of basically a full stack engineer that can help us. We have an engineering team in India, and we need to have, we're trying to build a team here in America as well. So we have the folks who are executing, and we want to have some folks who are architecting the database for future growth. And investment capital as well. So we need talent and we need investment capital.
One more round of applause, please.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks. Take that. Perfect. All right, great. And before we bring up our next presenter, we do have a special guest here today to say a few words. So one more round of applause, please. Everybody stand up. We'll welcome Alex to the stage of the Brunch Series.
So I am starting a 501c3 called the Hands of Honey. And I am doing 2 events, or 1 program and 1 event under the Hands of Honey. And our event is the Brunch Series. Basically, the Brunch Series is a 2.5 to 3 hour event bringing buyers, which would be investors from the community or any type of investors, and sellers, such as Taco Rex or Kessler Bakery. So we want to make sure that we work as a financial intermediary between those investors and those inspiring entrepreneurs from the South Dallas community or those who wish to be in the South Dallas community. We want to engender a capital market, and we want to make sure that that capital market creates a knowledge-based economy within South Dallas. We wish to revive the South Dallas area ranging from Fair Park to Colonial Pine and the Cross Street Malcolm X. We're not really looking for Martin Luther King, but we're looking to put new business, small business owners within the South Dallas community in that range, right? We want to reestablish the neighborhood using social capitalism, right? Capitalism affects the people that live in this community, sociologically, psychologically. And if you go to South Dallas right now, you can see that there's nothing there. It's barren. It's an area that is stricken by poverty. It's an area stricken by other socioeconomic plagues. And really, we just want to get the ball rolling, get people excited about innovation, creativity, entrepreneurship, while still teaching them how to grow a business. Sort of like the DC does, but specifically for that area. We want to attract an African American middle class. Predominantly, South Dallas is composed of African Americans, mostly in the low middle class to lower class range. And we want to introduce those African Americans who live in DeSoto, Duncanville, etc., to come back to the city, increase the economy, increase capital, keep pumping in money into that area, just so that we can get the area back to where it needs to be, having value, right? And I think that this area is a great area to invest in because it's a subgroup. It creates a lot of niche markets. For example, the black hair care industry is $1 billion industry. Actually, it's $946 million. There's no hair salons over there hardly. Not any that are up and running. There are hardly any grocery stores over there. Right now, Paul Quinn, Bonton Farms, they're trying to get agriculture going. But if you have a farm or any type of land that has agriculture being produced, I mean, who's selling it? How do you regulate who gets what and how do you keep it safe? We want to renew South Dallas by, again, reestablishing value, right? If there's nothing that is of value to that neighborhood or to the community, then nothing's going to stay there. Nothing's going to have a longevity there. And that goes about giving the community an identity again, right? Producing culture or bringing businesses to the neighborhood that will fuel culture, right? For example, Uptown. Uptown is an area that I go to frequently as a student at SMU. And the culture there for me comes from Chicago is money. And that culture continues to, it sustains itself. Money produces money. People like to go to Uptown. People like to have fun. But there's no culture there without people. So such as South Dallas, there's no culture there because the people there don't value somewhat of themselves and what is around them. So the brunch series, we asked that people come out for this 2.5 hour event. If you want to be an investor or entrepreneur, please contact me. We wish to really get some people into their LLCs, into different spaces, incubator spaces, and just help them get their foot on the ground and get some things going for that community.
Great, thank you. And then if you do have any questions for Alex, please find her afterwards, and she would love to connect with you. And then just a quick reminder before we get to our last presenter for the day. We are active on social media, so find us on Facebook, on Twitter. We have all the Twitter handles for ourselves as well as our presenters today. Please use the hashtag 1MCDAL. We'd love to connect with you, stay engaged, join the conversation. We also do have an events board over by the elevator, so if you do have any that you'd like to share, please go ahead and do so. That's what this community is for. And we also have our newsletter that goes out every Monday, and it includes the recording of the video. So today's recording will be included in that. So please subscribe to that. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. And then I think we're all ready and all set. So if everybody could please do one more big round of applause. Stand up. We'd like to welcome Dawn and Dawn Swift and Associates.
Well, good morning, everyone. Can you hear me all right? Hold it up.
There you go.
So I can belt out a song? Okay. My name is Don Swift. I hail from Wichita Falls. That's why the lateness here. I've spent the last half hour driving around downtown. Anyway, I'm here to talk to you about one of the products that I sell for my company. My company is called Don Swift and Associates. I do consulting in quality management, human resources management, and I'm a mediator. For a lot of years, I worked for a guy by the name of Jim Ashton. He had a company called Ashton Capital Partners, and what they did was they bought and sold companies, mostly factories, that where he could go in, put a little bit of money into them, and then they got better, and he could sell them. My job on the team was to go in and look at the HR systems and the quality management systems to see if there was anything that I thought could be a deal breaker for the companies. The things I normally found in these companies were safety issues, some pending lawsuits, mostly in that case with human resources, customer service problems, poor HR and quality management. They were undertrained, they were understaffed, the morale was low, and there were compliance and regulatory problems. Most of the people who ran, especially the HR and quality areas, were undereducated, undertrained, and you all know that in companies, when you start taking expenses out of the company, a couple of the first places that you go to grab people are in your HR and quality management staffs. So it wasn't any surprise. HR in general was the bigger issue. One example is one company that of about 350 people, I think, had reduced their HR staff down to a clerk. They were still hiring. That left the hiring, training, and discipline to the supervisors. So they got into problems with not following employment law, no onboarding, poor job placement, and favoritism. That led to 5 EEOC complaints, which then led to 2 lawsuits, one in sexual harassment and one in age discrimination. In the end, we went ahead and bought this company. In the end, those 2 lawsuits cost us $257,000 in mediating expenses, and that's after we paid the $100,000 deductible in the employment insurance that we had. So you can see that by not following good HR procedure and protocol, they set themselves up for failure. So some years later, down the road, about 4 years ago, decided I was going to create my own company, and then I was going to start looking at small companies, 400 employees or fewer. And so, as I looked at them, I began to see in the HR areas that they think they're too small to be affected by employment law. How many of you have a company of one person? Are you affected by employment law? Yes, you are. The answer is yes, you are. Think they cannot afford an HR staff. They have given HR responsibilities to other managers as extra duties. Provide no education or training in employment law or compliance. Have few HR policies and procedures and are inconsistent with what they have. If you talk to an HR manager very long and you don't hear the word document, then that HR manager probably hasn't been one very long. They're underdocumented, they have poor personnel records, and they are out of compliance. As I spent time consulting, I began to understand that many of these companies are not going to bring on the extra HR person per se, so they can use one. So I decided to develop my own protocol for interfacing with these companies and becoming their HR manager, and I created a product called HR Service. It's literally, they get to spend unlimited phone time with me. We look at their basic documentation. We look at all the other things that have to do with HR discipline and documentation, and I help them with their HR records. My costs are, generally speaking, companies 1 to 49, $250 a month. Why 49? Because at 50 you start being compliant, have to be compliant with Family and Medical Leave Act and that kind of thing. Companies 50 to 100, 350, you can see the rest of the pricing. What this does for you if you're in one of these boats is it lets your HR become
We will now open the floor to any questions.
How do you get over the, I guess, sales objection hump of the 1 to 49 employees when $250 a month is already a lot for them to be thinking about because their cash is already strapped in other ways. They've got personnel issues. Bringing on someone to try and solve that is like the 5th priority on their top priorities list for the day. So I'm just curious what your sales objection cycle is.
Well, it's a good question, and you are right in that they don't have any money to spend. However, if I can go in and show them where violations of employment law, just a simple little violation, can result in fines that are unbelievably high in the tens of thousands of dollars in many cases, that can help them make a rational or decision or judgment decision. As far as the 49 or fewer are concerned, that's a matter of law. So why do I stop there? Because I'm not having to help them with Family and Medical Leave Act and those kinds of things. Whereas when they gain 50 employees, we have to do all that stuff. So I don't know whether that answers your question, but yeah. Pardon me? I'll repeat what I said.
What she said.
Oh, I'm sorry. She asked a question about how do I kind of like get my foot in the door as far as the sales pitch is concerned when they're already strapped for cash and that kind of thing. Why are they going to then buy my services rather than bring on somebody full-time or that kind of thing?
So I have a question. One of the trends that you're seeing with smaller companies trying to deal with employment and employees is professional employee organizations that actually hire your employees and basically, they work for you through that organization. How does that compare to the services you're offering? Do you work with that? Do you think it's a good idea, bad idea? What's your opinion on PEOs?
Well, as an HR director, by the way, the question was, how do I justify my services as compared to the services of professional employee organizations? As an HR director, I work with those companies in a lot of cases. Well, if you've worked with them before, you know that they bring some advantages to you. They have a lot of staff. That's all they do. They can bring people to you. You can employ or lease employees through them. There's some advantage to that. But they also charge you a fair fee for that kind of thing. Generally speaking, if you're leasing employees, you're paying your hourly wage plus half again as much. And when you start doing that for even 10 for 10 employees, you find that your monthly bills from those organizations get to be pretty great. The second thing about those particular organizations is that they will only go so far with helping you develop employees. One of the things I do offer my employment or customer base is the ability to help develop training plans and those kinds of things that can really bring a better or higher professional performance as far as their, especially their middle management and supervisors are concerned. Does that help?
Any other questions or feedback? All right, what can the community do for you?
Well, you can hire me. You know, I'm old enough that I don't mind asking for work. I think if you're in a company where you have diminished or feel like you can't afford a human resources professional, and I understand that. I understand that they're expensive and HR people are hard to find and that kind of thing. If you're in that kind of company, then allowing me to come in and provide services for you, even if it's in a startup scenario, so that our plan is to get you to a point where we can bring on the professional HR person, or you've got a person that you'd like to have work with me to become an HR professional. I have an SBHR from the Society for Human Resources Management. I was an HR director actually for about 20 years. And there are things I still have to read up on, because I'll tell you, HR law changes by the minute. Every time we get a new legislator, we want to have new laws. So that's what you can do for me. You can either hire me yourself, or if you've got friends who need this kind of service, you can give them my name. I brought plenty of business cards and brochures if you're interested in taking them.
One more round of applause for Don Smith and his son.
All right, well, that wraps up today's program. Thank you everybody for joining us. Please stay for more coffee, networking, talk to our speakers and our presenters today, and then also please go enjoy some brunch, and we'll see you next Wednesday at 9 a.m. Thank you so much. Bye.